I'd like to call the meeting of May 14, 2024 to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those who served our country in the past and for those who continue to protect our country today. Thank you. Please note the emergency exits are the door behind us, the door you came in, and the door at the other end of the hallway. And at this point, we're going to have a presentation by a member of our CAC. Pat, would you like to come up? Pat's going to discuss inland waterways.
Do you want to, where do you want to sit here so you can see that, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, whatever's easier for you.
Do you need a chair? Do you have one?
That's okay. I mean,
We can get you a chair.
Warm in here. Oh, that wasn't up enough.
yeah, I'll make it.
Of course. Not at all. I don't use this anyway. I'm so surprised.
As am I. Are we set? Oh, thank you for coming, Pat. We're all ready.
So, as Mary mentioned, I'm a member of the Conservation Advisory
Does he have a mic? Turn the mic.
and also
We're gonna get.
the Fishkill Creek Watershed Alliance, which is a group of reps from towns, villages that border the Fishkill Creek. The purpose of the Fishkill Creek Watershed Alliance is to look for ways to reconnect, to revitalize, and protect the watershed from whether it's flooding, whether it's stream bank erosion, degradation of the water quality, and look for ways to perhaps develop properties along the creek, while at the same time maintaining its character and its natural beauty. So I drafted a resolution that I'd like to present that will, what I want to do is proposing to add Fishkill Creek to the list of something called the inland waterways in New York State. So what is an inland waterway and why do we want to do this? Basically, this Department of State, the New York State, has monies available through the local waterfront revitalization program. It's been on the books since 1993, and there are 94 municipalities that have already gone forward with local waterfront revitalization programs in New York State, received grants for all kinds of things, from doing planning, to research, to feasibility studies, and actually implementing projects along the creeks. It could be recreation, it could be open space, and right now that's a project that the CAC in Beekman is working on. So the inland waterway designation in section 911 of the bill, it defines all of the waterways. In order to add Fishkill Creek to that list of inland waterways, we would have to have a senator and an assemblyman sponsor it, okay, to make an amendment to the bill to add it to that list. So the resolution, so you want me to read it?
Yeah, if you want.
Or do you want me to take, how much time do I have?
As much as you want.
Oh,
Is that a mistake?
No, okay.
Carol, you get that much time too.
If you look up on the screen, you can see the resolution. So the resolution is to add Fishkill Creek to inland waterways. Whereas Dutchess County municipalities are working together to protect water resources, and whereas communities in Fishkill Creek watershed have demonstrated strong interest in comprehensive watershed management, and whereas the federal government, through the Environmental Protection Funds and the New York State Department of State Division of Coastal Resources, has funding to assist communities in protecting designated water body and revitalizing the community, and whereas New York State Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson and Senator Pete Harckham have agreed to sponsor an amendment to the Designated Inland Waterway Act to include Fishkill Creek in the list of designated waterways. And by the way, you see in parentheses, it says Senator Rob Rollison and Assemblyman Anil Bepan have also been contacted as well to request their support, and they represent our district. Okay. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Beekman supports said resolution to amend the Designated Inland Waterways Act and is hopeful for passage in the New York State Legislature. Now, this is the draft of the resolution that I would like
We have it on tonight.
to see. What's that?
We're adopting that resolution tonight.
You are?
We
Oh,
are.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't have to do the dog and pony show.
No, you do not.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
You already twisted my arm at our prior meetings.
Okay. I need to just follow up with you offline.
I saw that, yes, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then to talk about Rollison
Yes.
and Bepan.
Yeah.
But this is not the right time to do
No,
that.
you can just keep going with what it is,
Okay.
and then we're going to move forward.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'll give this back to you. Sweet.
Oh, you don't want to go through the
Oh, I'd be
slides?
happy to, yeah,
Yeah, no, I
okay.
think.
Oh, okay, absolutely.
I think the public would like to see them.
I
Yeah, if
misunderstood.
you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Oh, good.
I misunderstood.
No, that's okay. I just meant we have the resolution on, but you do your presentation so everyone
Okay.
understands, the background for it. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So, basically, answer some basic questions. I hope these slides will answer some basic questions about what inland waterway designation is. So there's a law in New York State Chapter 18, which is executive law, and Article 42 is the waterfront revitalization of coastal areas and inland waterways. This goes back to 1993, okay? And then in Section 911 is a lengthy list of waterways that are, and this is, if you look up on the screen now, you'll see, it defines what an inland waterway. Well, number one defines coastal and coastal boundaries, but if you skip down to paragraph 4, it defines inland waterways, okay? And in that paragraph 4, it also lists all of the inland waterways that have been identified as inland waterways. So all of these here, and some of them that you might be familiar with, Wappingers Creek is one, 10 Mile River, Weebatuck Creek, Wasaya Creek, of course the Hudson River, are just a few of the ones, of the creeks and the streams locally that have, and you'll see them listed in here, because they have inland waterway designation status. And the advantage to that is that the communities that have, communities along those water bodies can take advantage of, can leverage funds from the state to do any kinds of projects that includes comprehensive either land use and inlet waterway projects. And it can be for anything from feasibility studies to actual implementation. So that basically is the background on what the inland waterway designation is. I have a couple of other slides. Why do we want to do this? Again, communities on the waterway, on these designated waterways, are eligible for funding. The local watershed revitalization plan, or the LWRP, identifies land and water use opportunities. Could be for public use, public access, recreation, to do preservation of water bodies, to correct any kind of, or mitigate flooding issues, whether it's something as simple as right-sizing culverts to replacing bridges, ecological restoration, development that will enhance the water body and the community, and at the same time preserve the character. So that's the reason why we want to do this. It gives us access to that money. Okay. This next slide just shows you on the right-hand side, the map shows all of the communities that are part of the Fishkill Creek Watershed Alliance. And you see from north to south, it's Uniondale and LaGrange, Beekman, East Fishkill, Fishkill, and Beacon, and actually a little part of Putnam County down there. So again, the idea is to work together to promote sustainable land use and water use practices, perhaps to enhance some recreational opportunities, and again, to preserve the character of the watershed. So how do we do it? I mentioned this again, I'll mention it again. We want to get folks behind it, the town board, get their support, and then get the approval and the sponsorship of a senator and an assemblyman. And to amend Section 911 to include in that list of inland waterways, to include Fishkill Creek. This is, again, the resolution that we saw earlier, and the rest of the slides really are kind of just backup for me, kind of redundant. It gives you a little bit about Fishkill Creek. I don't want to take up any more time than I already have.
And we can put them on the website,
Okay.
if you want.
Okay.
We'll do
And
that.
I'll be happy to take any questions if anyone
Any questions?
has a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's the Fishkill Creek in Beekman? Like, physically tell me, is it the creek
Where
that
is
goes
it?
behind the recreation park?
Yeah, exactly. You know, Recreation Road, if you go along Recreation, where the ball fields are?
Yes.
Yeah. And also, on Beekman Road, it crosses Beekman Road before it gets into the recreation park. And then if you cross, if you're on Beekman Road and you cross 55 heading north, you'll see it's up there too. Yeah. And then it goes into Uniondale from there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So when we say watershed, that's all the feeders that go into the creek. So how far out are you sort of extending when you say watershed?
Yep, you mean like the tributaries and stuff? It would include, the definition would always include tributaries. Like for instance, the major tributary to Fishkill Creek is Sprout. Sprout is one of them. I'm sure there are other smaller ones, and I think some of them may be what I call seasonal. Okay, that they may dry up come summer, but they're still important because they have a lot of like vernal pools and stuff that support amphibian life, and but I don't know but I know the major one is Sprout, but beyond that, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that the definition would be comprehensive enough to include not only all the tribs that are in our neighborhood, but along the creek from Beacon all the way up to Uniondale. Hi.
Hi. You foreseen any negative impact for wildlife making this change, or actually you will see as a positive thing?
I'm sorry.
You will see any negative impact for wildlife making this change, building recreational things for people, etc. And so wildlife will be impact negative.
Well, I think the idea is to leave as small a footprint as possible, so as not to not do that. I mean, once the Fishkill Creek achieves that inland waterway designation status, the next step would be to develop a plan. Okay, we develop a plan that would say, here's our vision for watershed and land use, and we're going to push them together, okay? And we're going to create, say, just for argument's sake, we want to create a park where we can be passive recreation. Say it's like bird watching or hiking, something like that.
Fishing.
Okay?
Fishing?
Yeah, or fishing, okay. You want to make whatever it is the idea is to leave as small a footprint as possible, to keep in mind that we want to maintain the character and the water quality, okay, and not to disturb the wildlife. So it's a long-winded answer, but I think the plan would be not to make any kind of have any kind of negative impact on wildlife. Was there something, some animals in particular, or
No,
some?
I'm not sure about which animal, but usually the more we develop, the more they destroy the environment, disturbance, and
Yeah.
so
I don't see that happening but that would, we'd have to get together, we have to get a group together to come up with a plan. Yes.
My position's a little different from a lot of yours. I consider fish living beings which want to live, and they're also a wildlife. And I'm worried that we would attract too much fishing with DEC stocks. I don't know if they stock this.
Do they stock the Fishkill Creek?
Yeah,
They do, not,
They do.
they do.
It's a
Off
problem
of
because
Route
they stock
7.
when it's
Yeah.
not healthy, that stock anyway. So anyway, I'm worried about limiting that.
Limiting what?
The fish is worried that it can get out of hand, and it does kill them.
I don't think, it's not a problem today. I don't, right? Unless I'm missing something, I don't think we have a problem with that today. My feeling is that actually the DEC is cutting back on the number of fish that they're stocking. And the reason that they're doing that is they're kind of shifting their focus. And the focus now is not as much as dumping fish into the river, from the hatchery to the river, as much as it is, okay, let's try to work with what we have and try to improve habitat, okay? Improve, to improve the habitat, for lack of a better word, so that we have better survival of the fish that are in there today. Having said that, many of the streams around here just get too warm because of the gradient of them. They're very low gradient, and that they get warm quick. And because they're low gradient, they get wide and they heat up. And once the water temperatures reach 70 degrees, trout are like cooked. That's the sad part. So the focus is not so much on increasing stocking as much as it is trying to work with what we have to improve. So I don't think that would be a concern.
And the DEC, correct me if I'm wrong, heavily regulates the Fishkill Creek as it is. So they're not going to permit over expansion. I think, what we were looking at least in the town of Beekman, was passive recreation. We would have to, speak, once all of the towns that are part of the Fishkill Creek would have to get together, pass the resolution, and then we would have a conversation with the towns exactly how we would see this going in the future uses. In the town of Beekman, I really just see passive use. Okay? Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome, Mary.
Thanks ever so much. We'll be in touch.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to send me this stuff, I can put it on the website this week.
I'll send you the file.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary.
Yep, you're very welcome.
I think I forwarded it to you today.
I'm not able to open it because it's in
Oh.
Google something.
Do you want
so-
this?
Does he know how to send it to you?
That's the
Oh,
whole.
wait, maybe that, do I have
That
that?
should have come with the supplemental stuff. Yeah, you have, no? All right, well,
Let me
You
see.
can have that one.
okay.
Actually, I have it.
Carol.
You want it?
You want two copies?
Our Beekman Library Director is our next presentation. Would you like to join us?
Yes, absolutely. I
Great.
just want to make sure that Maureen is still okay with that.
Are you still okay? She wanted to know?
Oh, I'm good. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so can you put it into the slide presentation mode so that it'll be bigger for people?
Yeah,
All the
but
way across the top, I think.
help,
There should, a slideshow is one of them.
where, I don't see it.
Just to the left of the volume control on the bottom right.
All right, help me out.
Just go up.
I'm like pretty much blind anymore, so I can't see it from there.
Nope. Where is it? Merson. Thank you. All right, Merson's gonna come to the rescue.
Okay, good. Because I'm not seeing it on there either.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right? Yep.
Our own IT guy.
Many hats.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Izzy. How are you?
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Okay, so I'm here this evening. Mary had asked me to speak about the library and just kind of give you an idea of what we are doing right now in the community and what's happening at the library. I couldn't really do that without talking about the renovations and the expansion that we're trying to make happen at the building. So I wanted to share that with you first. Because you've probably heard a little bit about the fact that we have renovated the lower level of the library, and that's really the first step in it. So this slide basically just shares with you where we came up with the ideas for what we wanted to do to the building. We had community conversations way back in 2019 before COVID, and when we did that, it was to do our long-range plan, and that led us to getting working with Butler, Rowland, and Mays architects to develop a master plan for the building in terms of what people had said that they wanted from the library, and also what the staff felt were the areas that were problematic in the building that really weren't serving people properly. You probably know this, but the Beekman Library is heavily used by young families. That's a big part of what we do at the library, both with regard to programs and materials. 50% of our checkouts of materials are children's materials, and that has held true for, I've been the director there for 15 years, and for 15 years it's been children's materials that drive our circulation, and also children's programs. The children's programs are always at capacity. Actually, frequently we have wait lists for things, and it's puts a stress on the staff, but we do the best that we can. I mean, for example, we do 7 story times a week. They're full. Every single one of them is full. And those story times go from birth, from little tiny babies, for like a little 20-minute story time, all the way up to preschoolers. This summer, we'll also be doing a kindergarten Gear Up program, which is an 8-week program. We're letting people whose children have not had the advantage of having preschool, they're getting first dibs on signups, because we want to make sure that those children are ready for kindergarten when they go into school. Obviously, you can't cram 2 years of preschool into an 8-week program, but at least it will give children an advantage and a chance to see what it's like to be in a room where you have another adult that's giving you direction and to learn some of the things they need to learn in terms of shapes and colors and letter sounds. Those are the same things we do in our story times every week. So that's a big part of what drove this is children's services. Since the building opened 20 years ago, and people are always shocked when I say that, but it was 20 years ago when the building opened. I know everybody thinks the building's brand new, but it opened in 2005, so next year will be 20 years. Since the building opened, programs have increased 100%, program attendance has increased 100%. Circulation has increased 100%. The program attendance has increased 180%, and the collection has increased 120%. Because for those of you who know the history here in Beekman, the library was in a storefront that was, I think, maybe 1,000 square feet. It was a very, very tiny space. And so we've definitely grown into the space and outgrown the space. In addition, we've seen some changes in the way people use the library. A lot of the residents in Beekman, I think they think of the library as really their third place in the community. You know, we talk about school and work, and then sometimes there's another place in the community that people frequently go to that they consider part of their community. And the library, a lot of people come in now, and we've seen the use of our computers in the desktop computers that we have available for patrons has gone down somewhat, but the use of our Wi-Fi has gone up tremendously. People come in with laptops and they will sit and work. There's a lot of people who work remotely in Beekman, and sometimes I think they either want to change of scenery, so they come to the library for a change of scenery. The other thing is maybe at home, you know, the broadband's getting hogged up by somebody's video game or something. So there's why they come to the library and use our Wi-Fi and use that space. We also have a lot of students, a lot of college students that do remote classes as well, and they will come in and use the library as a space to have a quiet space. But one of the things that we found is that our community room upstairs is the best quiet space, but it was also the place we were doing all of our programs. So every time we had to do a program, we had to kick people out of the quiet space and turn it into the noisy space for the program. So these were some of the challenges that we found. So the next slide, if you could, we identified the following needs. That we needed an all-encompassing children's room that can house all of the materials in one space. If you've been in our library, our children's room proper basically just houses books for children that are preschool age. All of the books for elementary age children are outside of the children's room because we don't have enough space in there. All of the nonfiction for children outside of the children's room. A dedicated children's program space, again, because we do so many children's programs. A larger multi-purpose room. Those of you who have been to our annual meetings, for example, our meeting room upstairs houses about 30 to 40 people comfortably. Many times we're at capacity in that room and people are standing out in the hallway. So we really could use a room that's a little larger. Also, when we do our summer reading kickoff, we pray for no rain because we usually do it out on the lawn, and if it rains, we're in big trouble. And then I say to Mary, can we run up the hill, please, to the pavilion? So it's nice to have a space where we know we can accommodate those people. We also identified that we needed a dedicated staff break room because we actually had our staff working in the same room, like the kitchen table was here and your coworker was over here. Like that's kind of how the space was. So not the most efficient. We also wanted to make sure we had better accessibility because a lot of people, although our front entrance is handicap accessible, it is a very long walk. So that was another area that was identified. And then finally, a quiet and collaborative workspaces. And Laureen wants to get to the picture, so she jumped ahead, so that's okay. So I just want to share with you that basically we identified that we wanted to do this in phases, quite frankly, because that's the most affordable way for us to do it. We can take it a step at a time and try to really lessen the impact on the taxpayers. So phase one, which is what has already been completed, you see in this picture, that's the lower level when they first just put the studs up in the walls, and then the The floor plan that you see, the darker green to the left is the actual room that was renovated. There's also 2 restrooms and then a dedicated staff break room down there. At the very back, at the very top, I should say, of that plan, what you're seeing with the red dotted line around it, that would be the next phase, which is to get an elevator to go down there. This space is accessible because it has doors that go out, and as Ezio knows, that's where they always set the fire trucks up, down there. So there are doors there. So it is accessible, but obviously it's not ideal without an elevator. The next slide is the nice, pretty new room, which just got finished about a month ago. So we've already had quite a few programs down there, and it's really a very nice space. And I'd be happy to show it to anybody on the board if you want to come over, and we'll take you on a tour. The next slide just talks about phase 2, which really is the elevator and the stair expansion that would go out the back of the building, which would make that lower level totally accessible for people. Whereas right now, what they need to do is they would have to drive down the driveway and park down there. And then the next slide. And phase 3, unfortunately, the most important part, which is the children's room, unfortunately comes in phase 3, just because sometimes the way construction works is you have to do this before you can do this and before you can do that. So unfortunately, I wish this could come sooner, but this is the logical way to do it. We would like to have a larger children's room where we would expand out to the deck that's at the back of the library, put a new entry on the south side of the building, which is the side that actually faces the parking lot, that everybody always says, how come the door wasn't put here? That was before my time. I don't know why the door wasn't put there. And then also a quiet reading room and a small conference room, so that those people who come into the library to use the library as that third space would have a room that would be dedicated to that. And then the next slide is the main level that I just discussed. And this is all on our website. So if you want to get a closer look at what we're talking about, you can look on the website. All of these drawings are on there as well. And then the next slide is probably my favorite, even though it's just in black and white. That's the children's room as it would be once we get this all accomplished. And it would have enough space to accommodate the entire collection, and then the current children's room would be a dedicated program room and would have a door with access from the children's room. So that's the dream. The next page. The next page is, if you look at it, really, it looks very much like the library does now. I will say that the architect was very sensitive to the fact that the building is beautiful and that the residents of this town love the building and they love the way that it looks. I think they did a great job of incorporating that entrance on the south side, and it really looks like it was part of the building. The next slide is an aerial view of how it would look from the back. Like if you were coming down from Town Center Park, driving down the road, that's what you would see. You notice that the back of the building looks a little large there. That's the children's room that would be where the deck currently is. And then the elevator and stair lobby is over to the right of that, which is kind of hard to see in the picture. But again, that's the dream. So the next slide, I'm going to actually skip over the next slide, except to just tell you that it would give us an additional 3,500 square feet of space. So we have 5,000 usable space for the public right now. It would give us 8,500. If that seems grand, I will tell you that the rule of thumb for libraries is 100 square feet per resident. So we are way smaller than really what a lot of libraries are. Like if you look at the Pleasant Valley Library that went up recently, which is a beautiful building, I believe that building is 12,500 square feet. So we tried to be very conservative and realize what it was going to be possible. And then the next slide talks about our plans for how we're going to pay for it. So just so you know, the good news is that the renovations for the lower level was totally accomplished without any tax impact at all. We used capital funds, and we also applied for a New York State construction grant. The New York State construction grants to libraries are 50% match, so you do have to be able to show that you have the funds available. And so our goal, and one of the reasons for phasing this, is that the New York State construction grants, there's a set amount of money each year. And so if you wanted to try to do the whole building at once, there wouldn't be enough money, even if we had half of it. They wouldn't have enough money. So what our plan is to go through it slowly and use the grant funding to supplement what we have in the capital fund. We also do have some funds, hopefully, that will come in from the employee retention tax credit. We've received some of those funds. We expect to receive more. And we're hoping that that will be the seed money for us to be able to do the elevator. In the future, it's, we started, the board appointed a capital campaign committee, so we will be embarking on a capital campaign because that last phase is going to be much more expensive. But the board is very sensitive to not going to the taxpayers for this, to try to use as many grants as possible, perhaps look at foundation grants, and possibly even a mortgage again in the future if we need to, in order to be able to accomplish this. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about our programs too, because then I have some fun pictures. It's always fun to look at the pictures of the programs, but before I did that, I wanted to know if you had any questions about this.
Anybody?
I have a question. You mentioned that a lot of water usage is for children. Has there been a study, like for the next 5 to 10 years, the population and demographics in Beekman? Are people that have more kids, less kids? Are you gonna have an empty child room in 10 years and something else?
I am not definitely an expert on that, and no, we have not done a study on that. I can tell you that the schools do those studies all the time, and usually they get it wrong. What I will say to you is, I've lived in Dutchess County most of my life, and Beekman has always been a bedroom community, and it has always been a community that people move to raise their children.
Well, it didn't always be.
And will it always be? I don't know, but I can tell you that Beekman is one of the youngest towns in the entire county. The demographics, it's a younger town, it just is. So I mean, my gut tells me yes. Do I think that an 1,100 square foot children's room is going to end up sitting there empty? I don't really think so. It's not really that big. Yeah.
I think the population of Beekman is 14,000.
That's what the correctional facility.
Yeah.
Without
And I don't think they'll use-
incarcerated individuals,
Right.
it's more
So
like
already
20.
we're too small to square foot anyway.
We are, and we said, I know that when the building was built, the response to the community was they built what they thought the community would bear in terms of cost. And it was certainly better than 1,000 square feet in a storefront. And it's a beautiful building, and it's been really well used. So it's not that we don't think it's a beautiful building, it's just that we think there's some tweaks that we could make that would make it work better. Yeah.
Thanks, Carol. We could go on to the pictures.
Okay, let's go to the fun pictures. Okay. The next slide is I wanted to just talk about adult programs. A lot of people wonder why we do programs at the library, because I know like the recreation department does programs. They do great programs for seniors. One of the reasons that I feel very passionately about programs in libraries is because library is about learning, and not everybody learns by reading a book. And I know people equate the library with books, and obviously, I love books, but I also know that a lot of people learn hands-on, that's how they are able to really grasp a new concept. And so that's what we do in programs. We show people different things, and they learn from those experiences. They learn from the person who's conducting the program. They learn from the other people in the program. I mean, we have an afternoon program of women who get together and knit and sew, and that's all it really is them learning from each other. There isn't anybody conducting this program. It's them sharing information with each other. And the other really important thing about programs for adults is I'm sure that you've heard about, you know, the epidemic of loneliness and isolation in this country. And that's a big part of what we do at the library, is give the people a place to go where they can interact with their neighbors and feel that they are part of something. It's just great to see that, you know, to see people have those kinds of interactions. So, and our new program space, just last week we had a jewelry making program, and we had 45 people in the room, and it was intergenerational. It was parents with young kids, it was grandparents. It was really nice to see. So the children's programs, mostly they're about early literacy. That's really the big push at the library. We also stress for the school-age kids programs that really enhance what they're doing in school as far as the STEAM activities, the science, technology, engineering, art, and math. That's very long, but those are the kinds of things that we try to make sure we're doing in programs for kids. I just want to point out the young lady there, her name is Hazel, who's holding her little certificate. That's her certificate for her 1,000 books before kindergarten. And obviously Hazel is a very bright little girl, but she did not read 1,000 books before she turned 5. What that means is that she was exposed to 1,000 books because her parents read them to her, her older sisters read them to her. And that's a really important part of making sure that kids get on the right track in terms of literacy. And then the next slide is our teen and tween programs, because we don't want to leave them out. And I don't think I have to tell you that the main thing that they get from these programs is they're out of their rooms, off of their phones, and they're actually interacting with other kids in the library. And frequently when the kids come into the programs, they're all very shy because they don't know each other necessarily. But I think you can see from these pictures that usually they manage to socialize. And the second picture there with the glittery background, that was the murder mystery night, which was a lot of fun for them. We also do a Bob program every summer, which is Battle of the Books, where kids read. They have to read 8 books, and then they practice, and then at the end of the summer there's a battle against other libraries. It's a regional battle in the Mid-Hudson library system. So there's usually 20 to 25 libraries of kids that are competing against each other, and it's kind of like a trivia competition. So, and then finally I just want to share a couple of the services that you might not be aware that we have. And the best way to keep track of these things that we offer is, you know, go to our website, and if you're on social media, we are very active on Instagram and Facebook, so those are good ways to learn also. And then also, please sign up for our e-newsletter. You just have to go to our website and click on the link there, and you can sign up. You'll get a newsletter every month, so you'll know what's going on. The next page is actually a screenshot, Laureen, of the museum passes. This is one of the things I want to highlight, that we do have museum passes on our website, and what that means is you check out a pass and you can go to the museum for free. So all of these institutions we have passes to. The passes are different depending on the institution. Some of them are for an entire family, like the American Museum of Natural History. It's for up to a family of 4 that you can get in for free. The old Rhinebeck Aerodrome, which we just added, is also for a family of 4. So each pass has a little different, but if you go to the website, you can actually look at each one, and you can actually reserve them on there and then pick them up at the library. And then the next page is our passport services. We just started offering passport services in October. As I told my board members, luckily my entire staff didn't quit, okay, because I had to get them all trained, and it was so stressful in the beginning that I literally thought I was going to have nobody there except me. So the passports have been extremely popular, and it's a great service. The community seems to appreciate that it's something they can do so easily. And again, all the information's on the website for that. And then the next slide just highlights some of the e-resources that we have. In case you haven't checked out the library recently, you know, we do have e-books. You can download e-books, you can download audio books, you can learn a language. That's just an app, Transparent Language, that you download. There is a lot on the website, so a lot of different things that you have access to. And then the next slide is the Library of Things. which is just a weird name that libraries came up with for things that we loan that people don't think of as library things. So we have a lot of backpacks, nature exploration backpacks that were provided by the, I'm not going to remember the name of the organization now, it's a Dutchess County organization, land conservation, having to do with land conservation. And we have a telescope, which would have been lovely to have last week, right? And Wi-Fi hotspots, laptops, all of these things are available for people to check out at the library. So, I mean, we have plenty of people who check out the Wi-Fi hotspots. Yes, I'm looking at you. Just if they think there's going to be a power outage. It's nice to have one of those available, okay? Okay, thank you so much. I know that was long.
No, it was very, we normally try to do it annually. With COVID, it kind of threw us off.
Yeah, we did.
So I appreciate that you came and gave us a full briefing.
Okay, all right,
Thank you. And
all
I
right.
will definitely come over and take you up on your tour.
Yes, yes, you definitely want to see it. It's very nice.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
take care.
All right.
Okay, so now we will move on. I'm going to run through the agenda items quickly. The first one is our town board minutes. The second one is the resolution to explore the inland waterways for Fishkill Creek. The third one is our usual housekeeping of the budget revisions. And the fourth one is we're rescinding the resolution for the highway truck that we passed at the last meeting because things changed. That one wasn't available. The price is the same, the truck is just slightly different, and that's resolution number 5. Number 6, to pay for that truck, we're utilizing money that we've been saving in the machinery equipment reserve fund. For resolution number 7, we're rescinding the shared service agreement with the town of Kent. It's no longer necessary. Number 8, we're approving and ratifying the memorandum of agreement and amendments to the collective bargaining agreement between the town and the CSEA. And number 9, we're authorizing the appointment of Christian Haganu as the chair for the ZBA. He's on the ZBA. The ZBA members discussed it amongst themselves and picked who they felt was the best candidate for their chair. And we're going to appoint him tonight. And number 10 is we're recognizing National Police Week 2024 to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day. And the calendar week in which May 15th falls is National Police Week, and we're recognizing that. Resolution number 11 is we're paying a claim to Comcast for some damage. Number 12 is the permanent appointment for the rec director. She was provisional. It's a civil service position, and the test had not been given in a number of years. Danny took the test last fall. And so now we're delighted to be able to permanently appoint Danny. She's been working in the rec department as either the assistant or the director for the last 13 years. So congratulations, and we're looking to many more fun years and programs with Danny. Resolution number 13, we're accepting the resignation of the deputy town clerk, Amy Getz. And with number 14, we're appointing Amy Getz to the position of senior clerk. For the last 5 years, I've worked without a full-time secretary. It's the first time a supervisor's done that. So, and it worked because Sharon and I kind of work full-time together. Sharon is the missing town council person and deputy supervisor. In the past, with benefits and the salary, the secretary was roughly about $50,000. So with Sharon and I absorbing some of those tasks that a secretary did for the supervisor, we saved the town roughly $250,000. At this point, I felt there's a need for additional assistance in my office. There are things that there's just not enough time to do, like researching grants. Merson sent me a whole list of grants today. So having someone to do some of the day-to-day tasks will free my time up and Sharon's time up to explore those kind of possibilities. Number 15, we're going to have a second cleanup day this year in order to support the rec department's campaign this year to keep Beekman beautiful and tidy. So we're hoping to avoid some of the unfortunate dumping that people think they should do on our beautiful roads. And number 16 is our payment of claims that we do. And let's see, for the agenda items, Bill, you've signed up? Come join us.
Bill Crane, 254 Gardner Hollow Road. Very briefly, I'm so happy to see that you plan to approve the inland waterway designation. That's extremely important for our natural environment. So I want to thank you for considering that. And I also want to especially congratulate Danny on she's done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
And thank you for the cleanup day.
Thanks. Okay. With that, we'll start. Okay.
Executive session.
Yeah. I told you. Merson?
Resolution number 1. Whereas Town Clerk Lorene Abatantuano has provided copies of the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 regular Town Board meeting to all members of the Beekman Town Board, and whereas Town Board members have had the opportunity to review said minutes, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby accepts the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 regular Town Board meeting.
I will second that.
Town Board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capillari?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 2, whereas Dutchess County municipalities are working together to protect water resources, and whereas communities in the Fishkill Creek watershed have demonstrated strong interest in comprehensive watershed management, and whereas the federal government, through the Environmental Protection Funds, through the New York State Division of Coastal Resources, has funding to assist communities in protecting the designated water body and revitalizing the community. And whereas New York State Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson and Senator Pete Parkman have agreed to sponsor an amendment to the Designated Inlet Waterways Act to include Fishkill Creek and the list of designated waterways. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board supports said amendment to the Designated Inlet Waterways Act and is hopeful for its passage in the New York State Legislature.
I'll second.
Town Board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capillari?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 3, whereas the Town of Beekman's accounting office recommends certain budget revisions based on department requests and/or accounting office review and analysis of expenditures or revenues. Now therefore be it resolved that the following itemized revisions are approved by the Town of Beekman Town Board, identified as Budget Revision 2024, number 2024-4, as follows.
I'll second that.
Town Board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capillari?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Whereas by Resolution 423-24-6, the Town of Beekman Town Board approved by resolution the purchase of a new dump truck from a quote dated on 2/8/2024 through Sourcewell number 080818-HPI from Henderson Equipment BB. And whereas the Town Board was notified by the Highway Superintendent that the vehicle specified was no longer available, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby rescinds Resolution 423-24-6 in its entirety.
I'll second that.
Okay. Town Board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capillari?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 5, whereas the Highway Department has received a new proposal for a dump truck and a quote dated April 29, 2024 through Sourcewell, number 080818-HPI from Henderson Equipment BB for the following vehicle equipment. One 2025 Western Star 47X chassis, complete with 12-inch reversible snowplow, Muni Body 2 multitask body, 11-inch level wing for $340,859, and freight $3,563 for a total of $344,422. Whereas it is recommended that the source of funds for the vehicle will be appropriated from the highway fund balances. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the acquisition of the new dump truck in an amount not to exceed $344,422.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 6, whereas the town board has approved the acquisition of a new highway truck for $344,422, and whereas the town deems it appropriate to use $200,000 from the Highway Machinery Reserve Fund for the partial cost of the vehicle, and whereas it is determined that the expenditure of monies from the Highway Machinery Reserve Fund is subject to permissive referendum. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of Town of Beekman authorizes the town clerk to publish a notice of expenditure from the Highway Machinery Reserve Fund and to post a legal notice informing the taxpayers of this planned action, which informs the eligible voters that it is their right to file a petition to require the matter to be subject to voter approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 7, whereas the Town of Beekman passed resolution number 4924-9 for the purpose of allowing the town's highway departments the ability of sharing the highway services, maintenance, and equipment and materials, and whereas the Town of Beekman no longer wishes to move forward on this agreement, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Beekman hereby rescinds the offer to enter into a shared agreement with the Town of Beekman.
I'll second
I'm sorry, the Town of Kent. Now you can second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Town Board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Whereas representatives of the Town of Beekman, the town, and representatives for the Civil Service Employees Association, the union, collectively the parties, exchanged proposals and met to negotiate the terms of a new collective bargaining agreement and reach a tentative agreement pertaining to the terms and conditions of employment for the periods of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027 for employees covered in the bargaining unit, and whereas the parties' representatives reserve the right of ratification of said agreement by the employees within the bargaining unit and by the town board, and whereas on May 1st, 2024, the employee within the bargaining unit ratified said agreement, and whereas the town board has reviewed and considered the terms of the MOA and wishes to agree to it and ratify the same, now therefore it is hereby resolved that the town board of the Town of Beekman hereby ratifies and approves the MOA between the town and the union for the term beginning January 1st, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2027. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to forward certified copies of this resolution to the appropriate officials.
I'll second it.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 9, be it resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board does hereby designate and appoint Christian Hanganu as chairman of the Town of Beekman Zoning Board of Appeals for the year 2024.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 10, whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls. as National Police Week, established by joint resolution of Congress in 1962. National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in the communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice. The names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas 282 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 118 officers killed in 2023. And whereas May 15 is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Beekman will observe May 12 through 18, 2024 as National Police Week and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 11, whereas the Town of Beekman has a franchise agreement with Comcast for provision of cable services within the Town of Beekman, and whereas an incident occurred in the cable line belonging to Comcast was damaged by the Town of Beekman Highway Department, and whereas Comcast has presented a claim for a bill for labor and materials for damages to its property allegedly caused by a town employee in the amount of $467.99, and whereas it is cost-effective for the town to pay the claim instead of seeking coverage through its insurance carrier, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Beekman hereby authorizes payment of Comcast claim number WNE-501604 dated August 31st, 2023 in full.
I'll second that.
Yeah, you're okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Second it? Great. Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 12, whereas Danette Plastini was appointed provisionally as Town of Beekman Recreation Director by Resolution number 51022-3, and whereas a result of the current civil service exam, she can now be appointed to the position permanently. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board hereby appoints Danette Plastini as the permanent Recreation Director to the Town of Beekman, performing all the duties and with the authority conferred or imposed by law.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 13, whereas Amy Getz has submitted her resignation as Deputy Town Clerk to the Town of Beekman, effective May 28, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board accepts the resignation of Amy Getz and would like to thank her for her service.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Stiegler? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
That
We
was
need
like
to make
way
an
back Tuesday.
Yeah, that threw me off so much when she said that.
Threw me off
Okay.
too, because I'm just so used to reading
All
it.
thinking of Werner. Okay.
Resolution number 14, whereas the Town of Beekman has created a new civil service position for a senior clerk, and whereas the current civil service exam list was canvassed, and the results of those individuals were received and reviewed. Now therefore be resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board hereby appoints Amy Getz to the position of senior clerk to the Town of Beekman at an hourly salary of $26, performing all the duties defined by that position.
I'll second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Town board discussion?
Councilman Capelleri?
Wait. Hearing none, go ahead, roll call vote.
Councilman Capelleri?
Aye.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak.
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci.
Aye.
Resolution passes. I have a question.
Can we wait till the end so we finish these? Okay. Award the bid for cleanup day. Whereas the town, oh, we just did that one.
No, you have to
No.
do, that's cleanup day one.
Where was he? Was he on the other one too? Okay. Whereas the town cleanup day has been scheduled for Saturday, June 1st, 2024, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. in the town hall parking lot. Whereas bids were received for services as described in the legally published notice and opened and read publicly by the town clerk on Tuesday, May 14th at 2024 at 10 a.m. Now therefore be it resolved that the Willow Harding be awarded the contract for cleanup day with the following per ton rates. MSW, $258 a ton, tires, $577 a ton, and be it further resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the services.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Capillari.
Aye.
Councilman Bellini.
Aye.
Councilman Limak.
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Resolution number 16, whereas the bookkeeper has audited and approved claims pursuant to Section 119 of Town Law as set forth in the attached abstracts, be it resolved that the payments therefore is hereby authorized as follows. Claims to be paid from A General Fund, $67,639.85. Claims to be paid from the DA Highway Fund, $28,658.76. Claims to be paid from the SS Dover Ridge Sewer, $5,629. Claims to be paid from the SW Dover Ridge Water, $9,443.58. Claims to be paid from the T Trust Fund, $900. Claims to be paid from the H Capital Fund, $73,356, giving us a total of $158,598.48.
185,000.
$185,000, thank you, sorry. On 4/25/24, payroll number 9 for the general fund is $34,728.83. The highway fund is $19,785.22, giving us a total of $54,514.05. 5/09/2024, payroll number 10, the general fund is $33,633.69. The highway fund is $21,881.55, giving us a total of $55,515.24.
I will second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Capillari.
Aye.
Councilman Bellini.
Aye.
Councilman Limak.
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Okay, on to general board comments. So there's a concert in the park this week up at TCP, Friday, May 17th, 6 p.m. There'll be food trucks. Hopefully it's going to warm up by then, but I encourage everyone to come. I think you've got something.
Yeah, I'd like to remind everybody, the 2024 Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony this year, obviously it's going to be on Memorial Day, Monday, May 27th, 2024. The actual parade is going to start at 10 a.m., but the lineup starts at 9 a.m. at the same spot as every year, which is 1189 Route 216, right down here at the end of the road. Access to the parade lineup area will be via Gardner Hollow Extension Road, Church Street, Main Street, Route 216. Lineup area beginning at 9 a.m. Main Street will be one-way traffic only. Traffic will not be allowed to Route 216 from Route 55. Immediately following the parade, the ceremony and wreath laying will happen over here at the Town Hall. And after everything's said and done, the Beekman Fire Department would like to invite everybody over for a free barbecue right at the firehouse right up here afterwards.
Ezio, you have?
Yes, from household hazardous waste disposal, electronics recycling. The Dutchess County Division of Solid Waste Management will hold its next hazardous waste disposal electronics recycling event on Saturday, June 1st from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Dutchess County of Public Works facility located on 626 Dutchess Turnpike in the town of Poughkeepsie. Residents can access the event by taking Route 44 East to Burnett Boulevard. The collection is open to Dutchess County residents only. This popular event is first come, first served, and residents should expect to experience wait time when they arrive at the location on June 1st. Registration is limited to the first 400 households Pre-registration is required for this event, and there is a $10 registration fee. Registration often reaches capacity quickly, so residents are encouraged to sign up promptly. Beginning on May 1st, residents can register online using a credit card to pay the registration fee, or register and pay by check by calling 845-463-6020. Checks should be made payable to the Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance and mailed to or dropped off to the Dutchess County Division of Solid Waste Management at 96 Sand Dock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12601.
Okay, great. General board comments, Bill Crane?
So I had a comment.
Okay, can we just do the general comments and then you could do it just
No,
before we go to
it's about
executive session?
taxes. I need to,
Okay, but I just pulled them up.
Okay, can you pass one of these out to you?
I can. Yep, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Bill.
Bill Crane, 254 Gardner Hollow Road. I'm giving you postcards the photographs I made of Gardner Hollow Road over the last couple of years. They're in season, so if you get them, there'll be one for the spring and summer and one for the fall and then also the winter. And I took them because of the beauty of the road. It's just, to me, this calls out to capture the beauty, and we enjoy this road so much. And I'm here to talk about just thank you and reinforce your efforts, if I possibly can, to preserve this road from the possibility of traffic coming from the resort that's being planned in Dover and in Pauling, the Starkdale Resort. Imagine right now people walk down the road and they enjoy the sounds of the birds, and they enjoy the breezes, and they feel close to nature, and it's a lovely setting, and it enriches the soul. It's so beautiful, and to imagine traffic pouring down, and exhaust and honking and roadkill everywhere you look, it's just something that the neighbors feel very strongly about. Actually, it should be kind of like a wildlife preserve, really, or a nature preserve. It's just a lovely place, and it epitomizes the rural character of our town, which everybody appreciates and desires. A few people are here who live on the road, so I'll leave it to them to make their own statements.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Bill.
Next is Frederica.
Good evening, all of you, and thank you for giving the opportunity to express a few words about that. We are clearly very worried about the potential development of the Stockdale Resort in Dover and Pauling. It's not in our town, but we have been already impacted by the aggressive logging that they did over last year. Ourselves and even our neighbors, they were aggressively confronted by the logger himself. We are very concerned of the potential development to the detriment that is going to provide in the area. We chose Garden Hollow Street Road and Beekman for the, as Bill was saying, for the peaceful, for the countries, for the charming that it brings. And we are really afraid that a potential development with all the traffic that is going to bring on the construction and also then on people moving with so many cars will destroy all of that, the value of that. And so that road, when we bought the property, we understood was a dead-end road, finishing up with the forest. And we would like you to please consider that actually making officially a dead-end road to avoid a potential traffic that other town like Pauline and Dover potentially will approve. We don't know yet, but there will be no benefit to our town, but there will be the increased wear and tear of the road, of the bridge, and so additional cost to us, not only distracted of all the rest. And so making this officially a dead-end road will really helpful for our community. We know there might be some hookups, some itch to go around, some is not just a straight things to do, but we think can be addressed. Lastly, we would like also to please consider to put speed bumps in Gardner Hollow Road. They're treating it daily, weekends, so daily, like a racetrack, cars, motorbike, and even moped that they are not allowed to go on roads. Of course, we call the police, but by the time the police comes, people left, etc. And there is roadkill for the wildlife, and there are pets of people they lost due to that. So putting speed bumps in strategic places, we really feel that they will help to eliminate all this death, and also for elderly, they are working on the road. So,
3 minutes, sir.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Kevin? Okay. How about Ellen?
Ellen Crane, 254 Gardner Hollow. I really want to echo the previous speaker's comments. A lot of people would have liked to be here to speak on this subject. Gardner Hollow Road is probably one of the most beautiful roads in our community, and we worry about the work that might be going forward in Dover and Pauling, which will lead to probably them wanting to reinstate Penny Road, and it will impact Gardner Hollow dramatically. To the negative, they will make all the money from taxes in buildings that are going to be built there and stores that are going to be opened in the Pauling area, and Beekman will get nothing except burden on their beautiful road. Increased need to keep it drivable because it's going to be impacted with all these cars, and the noise, and as Frederica mentioned, the speed that goes on now. The DEC forbids the use of ATVs on the entire Gardner Hollow Road, but they don't come around to enforce it until, or at least after 4 o'clock when all the kids are driving. So all of these factors come together, and we know how difficult, and in fact impossible it was to keep the heavy trucks off the bridge. So for all these reasons, I'm sure that they would want to use heavy vehicles to go up Gardner Hollow to work on the construction. So I urge you not to wait for them to start developing, because it will take a lot of effort, or back and forth with the DEC and everything, to make a dead-end road. But I think it can easily be done if you send the engineer to come up with a plan and then bring it to the DEC and make it happen. Even if they don't go forward in building this big development, and I think they might be able to. I'm sure you're all aware of the history of this project, where the developer was excluded from being able to develop in another community where the town didn't want it. But Dover wants it badly, and Pauling will probably go along. So, and Dover is willing to let them do pretty much anything, as we all saw in the logging permit that they gave, which a lot of the activities that he was able to do were against DEC regulations, and nobody seemed to care. So I urge you to take a step. It'll be for the dramatic benefit of our whole town, and it will encourage people to come and wander around on the roads and see how beautiful our community is. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm in total agreement with that, with Gardner Hollow. I'm total agreement, Bill. Okay. I wasn't I don't have my thing. Okay, total agreement. I'll go on the record. I was horrified about what the logger did, and He and I had some interactions, not a pleasant interaction, and we did our best. It was an impossible situation, and this is not something that I support. If Dover and Pauling want to have a project like this, then they should make the roads accessible in their boundaries and not be burdening the town of Beekman. So we are already, Craig Wallace is our town attorney, and Dan Kohler, our town engineer, looking at different ways we can address this situation prior to them getting their approvals, you know, way before, so that we are proactive, not reactive. The logging kind of snuck up on us, and I don't want to be in that situation again, because that was an unfortunate situation, and I agree. I think all the construction trucks will come up that road, and they get all the benefit and we get all the heartache. And that's an incredibly unfortunate situation for the residents on that road, for all of the residents who will have to pay for the upkeep because of that. It is definitely, I think, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful roadways in the town of Beekman, if not all of Dutchess County. It's just very scenic and a lovely road. So I'm hoping that the powers that be, with our attorney and our town engineer, that we come up with a plan that, you know, prevents that from happening. So that's our goal. Okay? And then, Louise, thanks. Okay. Well, we'll see. I tell you, I stood in front of the logger. That didn't go well. So, I think we'll all have to stand in front of the trucks at that point. Lorene?
So just two things. So the last day to pay taxes for property tax is May 31st, and it's going really well. I will be actually on vacation next week. I'm looking forward to that. The only problem is I won't have coverage on Wednesday and Thursday, so we do have a drop box in the supervisor's hallway. So if anybody needs to drop off their taxes, please no cash, just check, and you know, put your phone number, whatever you need to do on there, and I'll take care of it when I get back. Second thing is, I'm in charge of doing the parade. If you guys have any volunteers, if anybody wants to volunteer, do anything, please reach out to me. I welcome anybody, and I will also, up front on that day, I will have a ride for those seniors or those veterans that can't walk to the parade route, and I will make sure that they get driven to the location. So that's it.
Okay. And then normally we end the meeting at this point, but we're going to go into executive session. And just to let you know, usually I give you a heads up, we're not going to do any action. So I don't know if you want to sit here and wait for us just to come back to close it. So I just like to give you a heads up on that, okay? So at the moment, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or removal.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for coming.